Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having an awesome and beautiful Wednesday. The weather here in Houston is gorgeous. So if you're cooped up in your office like me, you might want to take some time to take a walk outside and enjoy this early spring that we're currently getting in Houston. My name is Christian Stewart. I am the founder and lead financial coach of Do Better Financial, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today on our We Economy Wednesday. I told you I'd be back this week, and here I am. So today, I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit my personal debt-free journey. One of the things that people frequently say to me when I talk about being debt-free is that either one, they could never do it, or that two, they could, they could do it if they didn't have kids. And so for those of you who don't have kids, gauntlet down, challenge, right? For those of you who do have kids, if you feel like my story is unrealistic, that's okay. Your story is going to look different. This is my personal journey. There are lots of awesome screams, debt-free screams and debt-free journeys that you can hear about on all over the internet, but particularly Dave Ramsey's YouTube channel. You can hear different types of debt-free screams. I've heard of people doing crazy things to become debt-free or just being really consistent over time to be debt-free. Whether they had no kids, whether they were 25 or 85, whether they had, 2 kids. I think I heard one group do a debt-free scream that had like 8 kids. It's totally possible. And I'm just going to share with you my journey so that you can know it and see that it's possible for you too. So let's get started. In 2009, I graduated from Texas A&M. With my degree in business finance. Before you say finance, shouldn't she know this stuff already? She's just good at this. Wrong. In business finance, you basically learn how to manage other businesses' debt obligations and then balance their books. Or maybe to request money at their behest. Honestly, you don't learn anything about personal finance in college. I just want to put that out there. Anyway, so I got my degree in 2009, and if you're aware of the state of our economy back then, the narrowed job market coupled with the fact that I did not understand the value of networking, I'm working on that, it's still a process because I like to be in my house, who am I kidding, meant that my job prospects were slim. And so I ended up finding a job at Kroger. I was a co-manager. Suffice it to say that job was less than ideal. I ended up making a lot less than I thought I would. Side note, for those of you who are thinking about college or who are thinking about not going to college, who are in college and trying to figure out what you're going to do with your newfound riches once you leave, be aware you probably will make less than you think you will, just because you have a flawed sense of exactly how much people make, but we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, so I was one of those delusional college students. I thought I was going to be making quite a bit more than I was, and but I was okay. I was staying with my parents, and I already had a car, which was nice. It was a functional car. I lovingly called her Christian, not because it was an active name, but because it was sort of a happy accident of me slapping my name tag on the steering wheel and somebody going, "You named your car after you?" And I was like, sure. So anyway, I had Christian. She was a 1990 Honda Accord. Yes, she was old, but she ran really well. As far as I know, she's still on the street doing her thing. But I had a car, I had a job, had a place to stay. Life is good, right? So maybe about 3 or 4 months into that job, I decide I need a new vehicle. Not because the one that I have doesn't work, not because it's not behaving well, because I got some money now. I had never had no money. Not real money, not on a regular basis of anything like that. I used to drive buses in college, but that wasn't producing thousands of dollars in my bank account. It was part-time. Anyway, so I take this job. I decide I need a new car. So in December of 2008, I go and get this new to me Honda. It's beautiful. I still have her. Her name's Onyx. She's very fancy, and she was expensive. Who am I kidding? She cost about $10,000 more than I intended to buy, and so I didn't have the money for her. So I put her on payments, and in February of the next year, so I bought the car in December of 2009. It is a 2008. So in February of 2010, my mom bought me and my friend Brittany tickets because we were, college roommates. We were hanging out, having fun. And she was like, hey, you guys, we got tickets to go see this guy, Dave Ramsey. You guys should go. And I'm like, all right. So on a Saturday morning, we trek out to, I don't know what it was called back then, but the stadium that is formerly known as NRG Reliant. It's gone through a couple of iterations, but that place, we went there. I think that was where we were. And this guy starts talking about, saving money for a rainy day, getting out of debt because of how much you're wasting on interest payments, and, how you're promising your future to the past, and all these kinds of things. And I'm just like, man, this sounds intense. And then he starts saying things like saving for a rainy day and paying cash for things. And I was like, oh man, he sounds like my grandma. Shout out to Granny. Rest in heaven. Love you to bits. Miss you lots. Anyway, so that was my grandma. I'm going to tell y'all a quick story about my grandma so you just get an idea. She and my grandfather used to split a sandwich for lunch. This is a grown man. He was a dump truck driver. He would come home for lunch. They would have a sandwich. That's my mom. They would split a can of Vienna sausages and like an orange soda. Split it. Now these are grown people. He's a fully grown man with a job, and they own their own house. And he had no problem. That was what they ate. That was the kind of woman that my grandmother was. And so he's talking, I'm like, man, he sounds like my grandma. And, he starts talking about budgeting, and I am a nerd through and through. You can ask anyone in my family who knows me pretty well. I am a bibliophile. I love to read. I love numbers. I always have. And when he said budget and plan and, figure out where all your money's going, I was like, yes, let's do it. Right. Also, I was single, so I didn't have to drag anybody else along in this process. If you are married, this is totally possible, and you should still do it. Just, hit me up and I'll give you some pointers on how to encourage someone to join you in this endeavor. Anyway, so I was single without kids, so I just went headlong into it, right? So I go through the process of setting myself a budget, figuring out how long it's going to take me to pay off my car. I had a student loan that I had personally taken out so that I could live off campus my junior and senior year, which I was paying. And I had like a small credit card that I'd used one year for Christmas, right? So I took that debt, put it into a big bucket, and it added up to about $32,000, okay? At the time, I was probably making 37, something like that. So when I looked at this and the fact that, like I said, I was living with my parents, I was like, okay, I can do this in 3 years. That was the number that I figured out. If I kind of buckled down and, did my thing, I could do this in 3 years. And of course, over time, my income went up. And so it started to accelerate the process. And it was really interesting how, when I would get a raise, the first thing I would think was, oh, I can pay something new off, right? I'm super excited about it. And that may sound crazy to you, but when you get really intentional about something, hi Regina, thanks for joining us today. When you get really intentional about something and you're very focused on it, you are excited to throw everything you have at it, right? So anyway, I started getting these raises, like, oh, look, it's 29. It's not 36 months anymore now. It's 30. Oh, it's not 30, it's so on and so forth. And so by the end of all of this, I was able to pay off those three things, that credit card, that student loan I'd taken out, and my car, yes, my whole car, in about 27 months. I know, it's crazy, right? It was awesome. I was really excited. So I pay it off. I do my debt-free scream at Dave Ramsey's office in Brentwood, Tennessee. If you want to see that video, it's actually on YouTube. Shout out to Christopher Sanders because he spliced it and made it awesome. He turned it into a really cool video. Love my nephew. Anyway, so that, you'd think that was the end of the story, but it is totally not. So shortly after that, I decide to move out of my parents' house. I do a whole thing, and I save up a whole bunch of money, get out of the house, and I'm living on my own. And I'm still living what most people would probably think is pretty austere. I furnished my house. I had fun. I took trips. I went to New York with my friends, and we went to Brazil. Like, we had fun. I spent money, but honestly, I was saving a lot of money, and I didn't really have anything in particular to save it for. It was just like, well, I don't need anything else. I'm going to throw extra money into savings. But honestly, that didn't last long. When I was saving for a trip, I was really focused. It wasn't hard not to, order a pizza or go out to that awesome Thai restaurant around the corner, Morningside Thai. I love that place. It wasn't hard to not go to those places a couple times a month when I was like, ooh, I'm going to Brazil instead, right? But when I didn't have anything I was focused on, the money would just kind of go wherever. I was still budgeting it, but we would do a little bit more floating, if you will, a little bit more disappearing act, so to speak, from my wallet. So, that was the interesting part for me. I used to teach this class called FPU, Financial Peace University. And the interesting thing about it is, hi Carissa, thanks for joining us today. The interesting thing about it is when I was teaching the class, we'd always be talking about budgeting and being intentional. And I realized that I was not being intentional enough with spending on the things that I care and people that I cared about. So one of the things I started doing was being like, okay, I'm going to make people's birthdays more special. I'm going to set aside more in my budget to celebrate the people that I love, especially, like my parents and my grandparents. I don't know how long I'm going to have them. Truth be told, we don't know how long we're going to have anybody. But so that was my thing. So I started doing that. And then I really started to have on my heart that there was something more that I needed to be doing. And so at one point, I'm not going to go into the details of this story, but I did end up moving back in with my parents so that I could help some other people try to move along in this thing we call life. And in that process, I started to realize not only how much money I wasted, but how clutchy I am with money, tight-fisted, if you will. And so for me, debt freedom, it led to an awesome opportunity for me to bless others, but it also led me to the realization that money is a tool. It's not a means to an end, and having a goal for your money, having a focus for what it is that you're trying to do really helps you move forward. When you don't have a goal for your money, it just goes wherever. But when you're aiming it at a target, you're at least going to get close. When you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. That's a fact of life. You aim at nothing, you're definitely going to hit exactly nothing. Or you'll hit something, but it wasn't what you were aiming for because you aimed at nothing. So you can see how this goes in a circle. Anyway, so here's what I want to tell you. I'm sorry, I forgot a part of the story. So after that, I realized that my parents had actually been paying some of my loans. They weren't in my name, they were only in my parents' name, and I felt a way about that. Some people would be like, oh, they took them out, let them pay them. I didn't feel that way personally, and so I wanted to help finish doing that. So last year, you may have seen me post about it on Facebook. I honestly can't remember what the date was because I make so many posts nowadays. But last year, I was able to finish those as well. So with my parents' help, because they had paid on them for years, I was able to finish off the last 2 loans that they had as well. Hey Anna, thanks for joining me today. So by finishing all of that off, like I said, I realized that having a goal and a focus for my money made it easier to save, made it easier to cut back in certain areas because I was able to direct those funds to something that mattered to me. Hi Elizabeth, thanks for joining us today. So that's my story. What's yours? Where are you at in your story right now? Your story may be at the part where you haven't even started yet. I'm going to be the person who's going to be, I'm going to be Phyllis in your life. That's my mom's name. And I'm going to say, there's this thing that I want you to come check out. It might really help you. I'm sure it'll really help you. You might be at the stage where you're tired, where you don't feel like saving anymore. Hi, Angela. Thanks for joining us today. It doesn't seem like it matters. I'm going to be the person to tell you, you need to come to this event so that you can find your why. You may be on the other end of your journey and you've been saving a whole lot and you've been kind of missing out on life. And I'm going to be that person to tell you, you've done all this work. Now it's time to live the life that you've been dreaming of. Where are you going to find out all this information? Where are you going to hear all of these great things? How are you going to figure out where to start and what comes next? You're going to come to my boot camp this Saturday. So on March 10th at 11 a.m., I'm hosting the Financially Fit Boot Camp. We're going to be talking about how you can break that paycheck to paycheck cycle because nobody enjoys juggling the bills. We're going to talk about how you can avoid overdrafts, start saving money so that the next time the car breaks down, it's not an emergency for your wallet and for your transportation. And we're going to talk about how you can start living that life that you've been dreaming of, taking those vacations, adopting a kid, whatever that looks like. So the Financially Fit Bootcamp, again, is on Saturday, March 10th at 11 a.m. If you are ready to join us, and I really think you should, you can get your ticket at dobetterfinancial.com/bootcamp. The tickets are $39 regularly. Hi, Chris. Thanks for joining us today. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. You're so sweet. You can get your tickets on dobetterfinancial.com/bootcamp. The tickets are regularly $39, but today only there is I'm going to call it a 2-for discount. If you use the code STORY, STORY, then you can get 2 tickets for $65. So if you have a friend you're coming with, if you've got your spouse, if you've got your college kid that you just really need to drag somewhere and you're trying to get them to, get on the right course, this is the spot for you. So again, get your tickets. It's not a huge space. So once we hit our limit, you're going to be kind of left out. Get your tickets at dobetterfinancial.com/bootcamp. You can get 2 tickets today only. 24 hours. This lasts till 2 p.m. tomorrow. So from today right now until 2 p.m. on Thursday, what's today? Today's the 7th. So until Thursday, March 8th at 2 p.m., you can get 2 tickets for only $65. You definitely do not want to miss this. It's going to be an amazing time. There's going to be some great treats and tidbits. And most importantly, you're going to have an opportunity not only to hear from me, but to interact with other people who are on the same path as you. You're going to have an opportunity, kind of like Jenny Craig, to do that weigh-in, right? To do that check-in, to have people that you know will encourage you on your way to your goals and that are not going to look at you like you're crazy when you say that you're going to turn the cable off so that you can take that $90 and do something more important with it, right? Not just more important, but more important to you, because this is your story. You have the opportunity to shape it. It may have been kind of amorphous over the last few years, months, decades, but now you get to be intentional about what you're going to do going forward. So I really want to encourage you to come out and join us. Again, you can get those tickets at dobetterfinancial.com/bootcamp. If you buy your tickets before 2 p.m. on Thursday, March 8th, you can get them for only 2 tickets for $65. I really hope to see you there. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, and I hope to see you there. Come out. It's not going to take all day. You can still get to the basketball game. You can still go out and do your thing. There will be some light snacks, so you're not going to starve to death. I really want to see you there. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.